DMA 202 Slate review for Bravo. Take one, marker. Hey class, this is Slate review. I'm going to break down what's on a slate and what's it all about. Let's look at where it says roll. This says 004. This means this is the fourth SD card I've used in the camera. And this is really helpful for if you're doing big shoots where you've got multiple cards. You fill up a card, put another one in. Every time you put in a new card, this should change. So this will help you in your file management, keeping track of your footage. This is the fourth card, so that footage goes in that folder. Number 4, the scene. So this is week 4, and it's scene 4. So for your projects, if this was the 4th scene, but this is the 2nd shot, this would be B. We did a shot before this, and it was A. So for this slate, I did a video just before this that was all about assignment 4. And that was the shot list. So this is the second part for the videos for week 4. So it's Bravo, B. And the other thing is, you want to read this out as, if it was A, it would be Alpha, B, Bravo, C, Charlie, D, Delta. Some people change it up. This could be basket. This could be bird. The reason you actually say this is because if you say 4B, sounds like could be 4C, 4E, depends if I have an accent or a funny voice. And this camera that I'm using, it has audio going right into it, so I don't need to connect the audio and the video later. You might be using a Zoom recorder, a Tascam, some sort of exterior recording device. That's really common. So you would be able to listen to the audio, and if I heard 4 Bravo, take 1, I can match it up to the visuals. 4 Bravo, take 1. So I would listen back to that audio and go 4 Bravo. Okay, I know. The take. So thankfully, I only want to do 1 take. If I screwed up, if this light broke, damn it. 4 Bravo, take 2, marker. Okay, well, there you go. I needed to do a second take. The reason for that is my backlight wasn't on, and my background light doing that wonderful blue back there. So I had to do a second take. So you can see there was a 2 there, and what I did was I write 2 because that's our second take. But right after I did the take, I just take my finger and just swipe it. And the reason for that is, under the chaos of a set, you put this slate down, you're doing multiple things, and somebody says, wait, was that take 1 or was that take 2? You can pick this up, and you look at it, and there's a little slash through it. So I'm going to emphasize this. So if it's clean like that, you don't know if you've actually, if it's take 2 or we're on take 3. If I put a little mark through it like that, I know that I definitely did the slate for take 2. So that's a little handy trick. You do the slate, and then when you do that, as you're walking back to the camera or wherever you need to go, you just put a little slash through it like that. Very helpful little trick. Helps you remember. Now, what else do we have on here? The production, PROD, production. This is DMA 202. So this is the production, is that. Now this is where the name of your film would go. So whatever you want to call it. I've been using that video, The Tree, that short film. They would have put that right there. I've been doing DMA 202, so I do video for other classes, different college, won't name names. So I have this on here, and then this is what this topic's about. But for what you'd be doing, it's the full name of the production, the title of your film would go right there. And you can see I've got tape right there. Now, I do this because this probably isn't going to change. So look at that, it doesn't wipe off. This does wipe off. So over the course of time, I'd be writing this over and over and over again. So anything that isn't going to change on here through your whole production, just put a piece of tape and write it out. So you never have to keep writing that in every day. So that's that. The same thing, the director right here, that's me. K Forrest. You can write out the full name. Usually most people just put the first initial and the last name. The camera, that's me. K Forrest right there. If you were going to have 2 cameras, 3 cameras, you might put that in there. Or if it was a slate just for A cam or B cam, that would go right there. Normally that would go, just leave that alone. 1 camera, just do 1 camera. Quality over quantity. Frames per second, 24 frames per second. Now if we were doing a slow-mo shot, and it was 60 frames per second, now 60 frames per second, you film that at a faster frame rate, but you play it back in your editing system at 24 frames per second, it's going to slow down. It's going to be slow-mo. So you would make a note of that so that the editor would know, okay, this is meant to be slow-mo. I'm not going to mess with that. The date, very handy, so you can reference your forms. If you have a time log or some sort of camera notes, what day did we shoot that? That's handy to have. Interior, we're inside. If we were outside, I'd circle that. This is day, so it's supposed to be day out. It's not supposed to be night. It's night. We would circle that. Sync. That's if there's gonna be separate audio. Now, I messed up, but there is an audio track with this, but it's attached to the video that I'm going to bring into my editing software. MOS is an interesting one. That's it means mit out sound. It's German, mit out sound, and that means there's no sound. So if we were shooting 60 frames per second, we probably wouldn't have audio. It's just slow-mo. So I would circle that. You don't need to read out all this stuff. Usually with your productions, you would just read out the scene and the take. That's it. It's one little way of saving a little bit more time, which that's what you're going to be up against, is time for your productions. So I don't want to sit here and go, roll 004, scene 4, Bravo, take 2, DMA 202, Slate review, director Kevin Forrest, camera Kevin Forrest, 24 frames per second. You see it's way too slow. 4 Bravo, take 2, marker, and out. And I always say marker after I read this stuff. 4 Bravo, take 2, marker, and then I do the slate. And that's for audio. So when you have audio and you see this and you want to sync them together in post, you'll see that spike, that little audio spike. And me saying marker, that means the next thing is the next thing you hear and see is going to be that slate clapping. So it's a little warning sign. It's a little warning sign for syncing the audio. So 4 Bravo, take 2, marker. So 4 Bravo, take 2, marker. 4 Bravo, take 2, marker. So if we were doing this MOS, that's the term without sound. If we're doing this MOS right here, I sort of have it circled, MOS. When I read the slate, I don't need to do the clapping of it. And one visual way to tell the editor that there's no sound, even though this is circled, it might have got rubbed like it did, so it might not be too obvious. The obvious way is to put my fingers between the slate. So I just go in there. I can call it. I can say 4 Bravo, take 2, and then just walk away. Or I can just hold this up. I like to call it out. The reason for that is it lets everybody know that we're rolling. It's kind of a last reminder of the actors, everybody, like this is really it. So 4 Bravo, take 2. Okay, got it. Out of there. There's also a thing called a tail slate. So sometimes you might have a shot lined up and it's really difficult to get that slate in there. What you'll do is you'll roll, you'll get the shot, and then the camera pans away or tilts up or does something. And at the end of the take, before you cut, you say tail slate. You run in there, and a tail slate comes in, the slate's upside down, and people always forget to do this because they've got the shot. You go tail slate, get the tail slate in there. You run in with the tail slate, and then you flip it, and then you call it 4 Bravo, take 2, marker, and then you cut. So that brings up another point. The first thing the editor should see is the slate or the last thing. So you don't roll and then bring this in and then go 4 Bravo, take 2, marker. This should be up in the frame, and then the camera rolls. And then we start rolling, and the camera operator says, rolling. And when I hear that, then I call it 4 Bravo, take 2, marker. And I want to make sure the camera's rolling, the audio's rolling, and I'm already there with the slate when that camera's rolling. And the same with the tail slate. The tail slate is, I flip it, call it 4 Bravo, take 2, marker, and I don't move until that camera cuts. When the camera cuts and I hear the camera operator say, cut, camera cuts. And this makes sense if you are an editor and you're getting tons of footage every day. And in your editing software, you'll see each clip has a little thumbnail. And that thumbnail is going to be the first clip, the slate. Now, a good editor knows if they don't see that slate, they're going to scrub real quickly to the end, and they'll see this. And they'll have all this information. They'll know this is 4 Bravo, take 2. Somebody took notes. We did 72 takes of this, but take 2 was the best. The editor doesn't have to go through 70 takes. They can just go straight to take 2. That's really all there is to a slate. Just make sure you use the slate. It's really important. It's a good habit to get into. It gives all this information, which can be extremely helpful. It also gives the actors and the crew kind of a good chance to know that this is happening. We're doing this. We're filming this. So everybody can kind of settle in. Let me tail slate us out. 4 Bravo, take 2, marker.